is enough to get me to the boiling point.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Wednesday. That's right, it's hump day. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you are having a great week so far. Having a look at Bitcoin, $8,312, and actually we're going up a little bit. So we are up another 6.88%. My goodness, I don't think anybody was expecting Bitcoin to go on this much of a tear. I mean, we would have expected some kind of a sort of pullback at this point, but nevertheless, Bitcoin is continuing to put leg up after leg up after leg up. However, I do want to talk about a few things. We are coming up to some potential key resistance for Bitcoin, which could create some short-term turbulence. Also, we do have fear and greed index basically sitting at neutral right now. So you know what they say, be fearful when others are greedy when others are fearful. Well, looks like we might be heading into greedy territory. I'm going to talk about that moving forward. Also, the fact that we have prominent analysts in the traditional markets very bullish on Bitcoin. Okay, we're going to talk about all these different predictions moving forward. Also, the fact that we do have the Iran versus US sort of conflict and some more things that have come to light. I do want to talk about that briefly on the channel, and we can have that discussion as to whether or not it is in fact having the effect on Bitcoin as a safe haven asset. Okay, so we're going to get into all that today, and if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. Also, if you are not subscribed to the Crypto Zombie channel, well, what are you waiting for? We do this every single day, and also every Monday, we give away a Ledger Nano S on the channel to a lucky winner. All you got to do is drop a comment below. Now, let's give this a quick refresh live. Bitcoin dominance, 69.3%. So this is very, very high for Bitcoin. In fact, it's even higher on TradingView. Now, the thing I do want to point out is, once again, Bitcoin is in fact leading this rally. You can simply change this from the USD comparative to the Bitcoin comparative, and you'll notice a lot of altcoins in the red today compared to Bitcoin. So even if you are up today in your altcoin, the majority of the altcoins are really just sort of being pulled up by Bitcoin pumping, right? Now, we do have some altcoins that are actually pumping on their own. For example, we have Bitcoin Diamond up 25%, Bitcoin Gold up almost 13%, so I guess just all the Bitcoins are pumping in general. We have iExec, Crypto.com, Rift, Horizon, 0x, Chainlink, and Nexo all doing quite well today. But that being said, guys, let's have a look at the most important thing, and that is the fact that we had finally some real volume coming in. We've been waiting for so long to see that actual excitement, that surge of volume. Well, look at this. 1.7 billion real volume 24 hours for Bitcoin, 1.3 billion real dollars in volume for Tether. So I would definitely say that this is real volume, actual traders. This is not manipulation. This is generally people getting excited for the markets. But should we be getting excited just yet? Well, I'm going to have a look at that, okay? You can see right here, we do basically have this situation where essentially we're trying to get above the December 6th high that we had back here of around that sort of 70.5%. Currently, Bitcoin is pushing upwards of 71% as we speak, the highest that we've had recently being almost 73%. So it would be quite interesting to see if Bitcoin can sort of break that recent high as far as dominance is concerned. Now, we are in fact above the 21 exponential on the monthly, and what I love about this chart is you could see how much these wicks were just getting bought right up. I mean, it was just showing that people were buying the dips, right? People were finding these prices, these, higher $6,000s, lower $7,000 being very good entry points for Bitcoin. And I also want to point out that even though this chart is actually delayed by a day, you can actually see right here, we were getting stomped out by the 21 exponential on the weekly, okay? However, as of today, we are sitting above this. Keep in mind, this is the BLX chart, so we are a day behind, right? But I do want to point out once again that we did have the golden cross on the weekly, and well, the last time we had it on May 23rd, I don't have to tell you what happened. Bitcoin went on a massive parabolic run all the way up to the 20K all-time high. So will history repeat itself? Well, it is possible, guys, but as I did say, we are kind of getting into greedy territory, okay? And once we get into greedy territory, you would expect there to be somewhat of profit taking, right? Especially people that bought in and then they lost they didn't lose their money, but Bitcoin went down on paper. Some people are going to try to break even, right? Some people just just want to get out. So I would expect there to be some profit taking moving forward. But right here, you can see we did have a successful inverted head and shoulders pattern. We broke through these two resistances. However, we are getting hung up right here at the top of the downwards trend of the wedge that we've been in for basically the past 6 months, right? So this is going to be a very critical point to see if Bitcoin can get above this. Even if we were to just get above it and sort of just bounce around on top of it as, the support just for a little bit, that would still be bullish short term. I would take that. However, if we do get rejected, then we would look to retest some of the previous supports, right? You can see right here, if we switch over to Bitstamp, for example, obviously every chart is slightly different based on each individual exchange. You will notice that we are sitting slightly above, and you can't deny that we are definitely sitting outside of this wedge. I mean, I took this literally from wick to wick. I didn't even look at the solid body candles. We're definitely sitting out of this. We're actually moving up as we speak, and we're sitting above that $7,940 level that we had right here at the massive accumulation of the VPVR. So it does look like all signs are pointing towards a very, very bullish turnaround for Bitcoin. Now, don't get caught, on the wrong side. But another thing to point out, we put in this golden cross with the 50, the 21 exponential, instantly had the pop off, and we are also sitting above the 200 exponential on the daily. So I know, right? It almost seems like a little bit too good of news, right? Too good of news. Can't be this good, right? Something has to crash. Something has to happen, right? Well, it's possible, guys. One thing I do want to point out again is we do still have the CME futures gap down here at around $7,685. It doesn't really, we're pretty far off from closing that, but you will notice that we did have rejection up here around the 200 daily. Now, keep in mind, this is on the CME future. And why is this so important? Well, they don't have weekends, okay? So their averages are slightly different than if you were to look at something like Coinbase or Bittrex or, Binance or something like that, right? And you can see right here the significance of this. This is where we had that major support and that bounce on October 25th during the, President of China pump. Some people were speculating. But look at this. That's actually what's holding us down. So really, Bitcoin needs to get above this $8,484 level on the CME charts, and then that would basically put us full on back in traditional bull market territory, i.e. above the 200 daily, right? We do have this gap, gaps tend to get closed, but hey, there's a first time for everything. Maybe we won't close a gap for once, right? But like I said, guys, this has been a pretty incredible run up. However, if we do have a little bit of a pullback, not saying we will, but eventually we're probably going to have a pullback at some point. I say as long as we stay on this, legacy trend line that we started when we had the this little pump that started around February 8th, okay? Then we're looking good, guys. So even if Bitcoin was to sort of retest these levels around 7.3K, 7.4K, it's still bullish in my view, and we're still putting in an upwards trajectory, guys, right? One other thing, fundamentally speaking, hash rate has hit an all-time high. You can see right here, we are all the way up to basically 120.7 million terahashes. So that is an excellent thing to basically point out, fundamentally speaking. That makes me happy. But having a look right here, let's talk about some of these traditional analysts. So many of them are getting bullish. First, we have Peter Brandt. So basically, he asked the question, has a new bull market actually started for Bitcoin? Well, he says market held support at the lower boundary of the multi-year channel, small head and shoulders bottom on the daily, pending penetration of the 6+ month channel. If enough crypto cultists have been shaken out since December 17, then yes. If not, then no. So what exactly does he consider to be a crypto cultist? Well, I'm not too sure about that, but one thing that we can look at is basically just tweets, right? So essentially right here, if you go over to BitInfo charts, this just represents the volume of people tweeting about Bitcoin, right? The crypto cultists. And actually, if we go to basically today, you'll notice that there's only about, 12.252K, or 12,000, is 12,250, I don't know, 12.25K Bitcoin tweets. And essentially, long story short, just having a look at this, you could see that this is basically on par with how people were tweeting back in January of 2015, and we're nowhere near the all-time high. So I don't think a lot of the crypto cultists are here. I mean, there's always going to be the diehards, right? But I would definitely say that a lot of people capitulated. A lot of people have left the space. Those that got burned buying from 20K all the way down to these levels. And I mean, it's kind of like been a ghost town on crypto Twitter, to be completely honest. But speaking of crypto Twitter, one of my favorite analysts, Bob Loukas, he says 2020, expect more of the same overall. Betting against stocks is foolish. not having exposure equally. He says he sees precious metals under heavy accumulation, possibly moving to test all-time highs. And of course, Bitcoin accumulation once more. And he says the bull market narrative is looking to take control. And Bob Loukas doesn't really put out a lot of content on YouTube, but when he does, man, you definitely want to watch it. And he just put out this update to the 4-year cycle video. And I just want to play this clip for you super quick, where he thinks we could see Bitcoin essentially moving into, this year into 2021, and I'll be honest, I wasn't even expecting him to be this bullish. So I'm just going to play a clip from this, but definitely if you haven't checked out Bob Loukas, go subscribe to his channel. This is 100% his analysis, but if you're planning on sticking around, definitely check this clip out, and then I want to discuss it.
Point being that all the way up into this 2021 timeframe, and more likely to be the late 2021 timeframe, I see Bitcoin heading higher, similar to prior cycles. How we get there again is kind of where we were in the April video and last year's video. I don't know, right? But I would say that at some point, maybe by the end of this year, 2020, there's a chance we get up to test the 20,000 or the all-time high levels. I don't know. I think this 14,000 high is probably going to give us more of a resistance than this 20 level high. If you do recall back, it spent just 2 or 3 weeks going up from 10 to 20, and then just 3 or 4 weeks coming back down below 10,000 as well. There's not much up there. There's more up here between 10, and more recently at least, between 10 and 14. I think once we clear 14, I think we'll get some resistance at 14 at some point in the maybe the October, November timeframe, and potentially shoot through. I don't think we'll get as much resistance as we probably expect at that $20,000 level. Again, not here to predict price. I'm looking at this more from a time standpoint and looking at prior cycles and trying to come up with a guide that's going to help. So let's just say, for argument's sake, that we spend, I'm going to try and draw this looking at, okay, so here's that $14,000 level. Let's call it maybe July. Okay, let's maybe a couple of attempts, maybe a big shakeout of some type, and then maybe not so pronounced there, but you get the point. And then back up to this, here's December. So maybe not until January of next year, maybe not until let's just call it maybe not until February or March of next year, do we not get to the $20,000 level. But as we've seen during prior bull markets and the type of behavior that you see in other asset classes, when they make an all-time high, there is a level of FOMO that's next level. It's next level retail-like FOMO. And for that reason, you begin to see a real acceleration in the gains, and possibly just over maybe no more than a 9-month period. It couldn't be much less than that. Do you get the final extension from one prior bull market high to the next bull market high? We saw that in 2017 as well, and we saw that in prior bull markets as well. You get this really sharp move over just a number of months. Now, again, don't know how long that takes. Let's just call it just for argument's sake, up to 120 by September 2021.
So I don't know about you guys, but that looks incredibly bullish to me. In fact, it looks like So I don't know about you guys, but that looks incredibly bullish to me. In fact, it looks like Bob Loukas is relatively certain that the bottom is in and that Bitcoin is pretty much only looking to put in ultimately higher highs moving forward. And I am going to give this video a quick like. We also do have Mike McClone. He's a senior commodity strategist for Bloomberg Intelligence, and this is what he recently came out and said. He says Bitcoin is winning the adoption race, notably as store of value in an environment that favors independent quasi-currencies. In 2020, Bitcoin supply should increase about 2.5%, all-time low on the way to zero growth. Now, he is referencing the halving event. According to him, gold prices will keep climbing in 2020, and so should Bitcoin. Bitcoin's volatility should also continue to decline, according to McClone, who sees 6,000 as Bitcoin's key support level and 10,000 as a resistance later this year. And I do think we're going to see some kind of turbulence around 10K. I actually do agree with him on that. He says Bitcoin should gain, it should outshine most crypto assets in 2020 as the unique and appreciating digital version of gold. And yes, I do know the other thing we need to go over today is we have had this situation where we had the attack, okay, from Iran on, some U.S. bases, okay, and we did see the president retaliating. He says all is well. Now, I'm just reading this tweet right here, but essentially, they are looking to have a counter attack potentially on this. There's also this plane that crashed. There's some conspiracy speculation about that. I don't really want to get into that on the channel. You can find this information everywhere. Everyone is talking about it, but the one thing that people are asking is this having an effect on things like Bitcoin? Now, just hear me out, guys. I don't want to go to war in order to pump the Bitcoin price. That is not something I'm interested in, but I do want to just analyze if these types of things are having an impact on it, right? Well, one thing pointed out right here by Travis Kling, you could see that you have right here the assassination headlines. You could see a clear pump in not only Bitcoin, but also gold and oil. And then right here, we have the missile attack headlines. And then there was also another subsequent pump as well. So it is hard to deny the fact that at least there's some type of speculation, whether or not it's 100%. I do still believe that As far as Bitcoin is concerned, a lot of the moves still are technically based, but I think the speculation has added to the effect of it moving up. And also, you do kind of want Bitcoin to act as that safe haven asset, even though the beauty of it is that it really is an asymmetric, non-correlated asset. But at the same time, you kind of want Bitcoin to, do what it's meant to do, right? So I have to say, in that light, it is interesting to see the correlation, but let me know what you guys think. If it's just a coincidence, if it's really because of this, if it's just speculation, could be a mixture of all three, right? So that's something I wanted to point out, but I think that one of the most important things to realize moving forward is regardless of just, the global turmoil and all that, it's kind of inevitable that the dollar will depreciate over time. In fact, I want to give a shout out to the Bitcoin of Crypto Street. If you guys haven't checked him out, go give him a follow. He put this video up of Robert Kiyosaki. You might be familiar with him from the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And this is from a while ago. It's about a 3-minute clip. If you guys aren't interested, you can feel free to just skip right past this. But I really wanted to just play this because he talks about, basically why the dollar is worthless. And you know what? Let me just play the clip. I'm talking too much. Listen to this, and then we're going to discuss.
Gold and silver is God's money. It's money made by God. And then in 1971, the U.S. government under Tricky Dick President Nixon took God's money and turned it into man-made money. Never in the history of, this is the thing, never in the history of the world has this ever happened. In 1971, the U.S. and Nixon convinced the entire world to replace gold and silver with paper money. This stuff. Cash is trash. So the reason we have so much volatility in the world today is historically, since the time of the Romans and the Greeks and the French and the English and the Germans, every time they have taken God's money, like silver here, and replaced it with man-made money, there's been economic volatility. Now the problem is, so the dollar is going to keep dropping. So one of the reasons I can predict what's going to happen is I can predict the dollar will keep dropping simply because the U.S. government and now the Euro, the European Central Bank, are printing so much of this trash. So you'll see gold going up in price, oil going up in price, real estate going up in price, because this is trash. So that's what happened in 1971. It's happened throughout history. And the reason this current election doesn't make any difference is the only person they can put this back in place is a strong, charismatic leader. People like Julius Caesar, Napoleon. That's why they were such great leaders, was they actually replaced this with this. Unfortunately, we do not have that person among the candidates. I know Ron Paul, philosophically, I agree with him as closely as possible, but unfortunately, I don't think Ron Paul has the chutzpah, as my Jewish friends would say, to change this whole thing. So there will be more this printed than ever before, which means the dollar keeps coming down and other things keep going up. And that's really what's going to happen. It's predictable. And eventually this will go to its true worth, zero. So all of you savers out there and people trying to save this trash, you're going to lose big time. Gold is God's money. The government money is fiat currency, the dollar, the yen, the euro. And then now we have people's money called crypto.
And you can see recently he has added the category of Bitcoin or crypto as the people's money, all right? So I just thought that was really important to watch. Sometimes it's good to sort of remind ourselves of why we're really here outside of just making sick gains, right? Also, if you guys want, check out the Bitcoin of Crypto Street. I will give this video a like. Thank you for sharing that, my friend. But what about John McAfee, right? He was one of the biggest Bitcoin proponents. He recently pulled back from his $1 million Bitcoin bet. I guess he will not be eating his manhood publicly on TV. And he says, you asked if I hate Bitcoin now, of course, but Bitcoin is not the future of crypto. You have always known that. You just wanted to ride a wave. Crypto is the key to unlocking our prisons. You've been using that key to scratch your asses. Wake up. Well, that being said, I do agree that Bitcoin is the hardest, soundest money in the world, and it's doing its job quite well. However, he does, think that there will be other, cryptos and blockchains in the future that'll serve completely different purposes. And once again, I have to agree with that as well. Yes, we are going to have smart contract platforms, privacy coins, all these types of different things. So yes, there is definitely room for growth. And honestly, really quick, I came across this chart. Shout out to Bitburger. Not that past performance means that we're going to get the same results, but you can see he did look at the top coins that were basically moving with the price of Bitcoin, and he came up with this list that basically says these are the safest coins to invest in. They tend to move pretty much in tandem with Bitcoin, and those would be Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Ethereum, Ontology, Cardano, Bitcoin SV, Neo, Dash, Tron, VeChain, Monero, Omisego, Ethereum Classic, and XRP. Obviously, we had some of the other ones just, doing really, really well, but those are, in his opinion, the safe ones. But I mean, come on, guys, this is just one bit of data, so you have to take it with a grain of salt, right? But talking about some quick news, let's get on out of here. So Binance has added support for the Australian dollar and the Thai baht. And speaking of support for the Australian dollar, they do in fact have, if you guys want to donate to the fires in Australia, you can, and they have kicked it off with a $1 million $10 donation in BNB. So if you're interested, you can check this out. If you guys are following me on Twitter, I've been posting this. You can donate through the Binance charity, or you can also check out my buddy Alex Saunders from Nuggets News. He also has it as well. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at the Crypto Zombie, and I have all the info there if you're looking to get involved in that. But finally, Coinbase rolls out Android app for professional investors. The app is now available in over 100 countries. It does allow you to trade, check your portfolio. It supports more than 50 trading pairs. And according to the product manager at Coinbase, she said, in just over 8 weeks, we've seen hundreds of millions in trade volume via the mobile platform. So it does look like that excitement for cryptocurrency could be coming back full swing. And also, it's not just the crypto enthusiasts who are interested, but it's our good old buddies at the SEC Office of Compliance Inspection and Examinations. They've unveiled a new list of examination priorities for 2020, and guess who made the list? Well, if you said crypto, you're right. So basically, they put out this announcement, and they said, due to these risks, the OCIE will continue to identify and examine SEC-registered market participants engaged in this space. Examinations will assess the following: investment suitability, portfolio management and trading practices, safety of client funds and assets, pricing and valuation, effectiveness of compliance programs and controls, and finally, supervision of employees outside of business activities. Hence, this thing's not going anywhere anytime soon. Let's have a quick look. Where are we? Kind of just struggling around this region. So there is some support. I mean, there is some resistance right here, guys. So we're going to have to see what we do. But, I've been trying to be very realistic about these prices the past 2 days. I've been trying to be like, because we just came out of like a 6-month downtrend. So bear with me, guys. Oh, pun intended, bear with me. It hasn't exactly been, sunshine and rainbows for Bitcoin. So I would love if we're having that reversal right now, obviously getting above some of these key levels, above these key moving averages, especially the 200 daily on the CME chart would be freaking amazing. But that being said, guys, we are moving into greedy territory. Be safe out there, my friends. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. If you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Join the Telegram group. It's absolutely free. If you're interested in supporting the channel, I have plenty of affiliate links below, but guys, I do not require that. Simply stopping by and saying hello is good enough for me. Thank you so much for stopping by once again. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.